Shalom, giving all praise to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom, peace, blessings, salutations to you hopefully elect out there. Alright, and again, just back to the spirit. I was watching this guy by the name of the Angry Prepper. I've done several videos on him in the past. He brings out, for the most part, useful information that could be filtered through the scriptures, right? But nevertheless, like I said, I got this video here, of another possible outbreak of another plague. Now, me, I always say this, I always say it could be something, it could be nothing, but nevertheless, we have to be prepared, because we can't put past anything when it comes to these top wicked elites. All right, we can't put anything past these devils, and I mean, at this moment, it's just a matter of the right event to just really shut things down, and for Esau to just full blown come out with what he needs to do already. Because at this point, it's just like, man, it's like what the hell, like, come on with it already, But we know everything happens on the Lord's time. So nevertheless, because we are in that hastening spirit, man, we just want this shit, we want Esau to do what he's got to do already. Like, hurry up. So like I said, it's just a matter of the right event. The stage is set. It's just a matter of that right event, which there's so many possibilities of how the destructions, the judgments, all right, to play out. There's so many avenues, and again, just through the spirit, just wanted to, like I said, another possible, one of the many ways in giving them justification on bringing in unrighteous decrees and things of that nature, shutting things down and things of that nature, because with all these plagues, with all these pestilences, as going on right now, like I just posted a video in the group chat with the brothers about this these cases in leprosy rising out here in Florida, right? But that's not even to mention the Marburg virus and just so many things going on right now. I'm gonna get this real quick to start off, because Yahweh Shema Shai, he's gonna hit this place with some shit that we've never seen before. All right, we are really about to see some shit, some crazy shit, like the scriptures say. Oh Lord, bring to pass thy strange works, thy strange acts. Roughly paraphrasing, we're about to see some shit, and like I said, some shit that the world has never seen before. So, this is why part of the greetings in these videos, man. The beginning of these videos is that part of the greeting is that to the hopeful elect. Because what does Ezra say? He said, "Woe is me, who shall deliver me in those days?" Because we're gonna be here, and we are gonna witness some shit as witnesses of Yahweh Shema Shai. All right, we're gonna see this go down, and we're gonna see it play out in real time. We're gonna see some shit, man. It's something is about to go down. It might not, whether it be within the next 5 minutes, it could be next week. Within a few months from now, maybe the beginning of next year, who knows? But something is getting ready to go down, man. I've been watching a lot of videos and just really just occupied in, you know, because again, the stage is being set. Yahweh Shema Shah, he's using Esau Edom to really, he's stirring things up, man. You know, but real quick in Deuteronomy 28 and verse 60, starting at 60. Matter of fact, verse 59, Deuteronomy 28 and 59. Then the Lord will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed even great plagues, and of long continuance in sore sicknesses, and of long continuance. And we see that today amongst our people. All right, and like the scripture say, man, it's better to live to just die rather than to live a bitter life, man. Just a life of continual sickness. And that's what, hey, quite frankly, to an extent, because, you know, obviously we all don't have to suffer from, you know, life-threatening illnesses, cancer, and, you know, you got a lot of people in the world, they, you know, they don't have missing limbs, and some, you know, a lot of people are blind, right? You got a lot of people that are paralyzed. It's rather to just be in the spiritual realm rather than deal with that shit, you know? But like I said, to an extent, we all are suffering from, you know, spiritual blindness, spiritual missing limbs, and, you know, because we're all sick at the end of the day. We're all dying at the end of the day. We all have a continual sickness. You see? We all are suffering some type of sore illness. All right? Grievous illness. You know? But again, Slakia, verse 60, it says, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt. And again, man, there's just so much going on right now and that's just because I'm gonna look this up real quick, which Esau, man, this devil. Let me get this real quick. Well, I'm gonna just read the heading real quick because supposedly, you know, they just let me just look it up real quick. Now, as we know, or as we should know, because what I'm looking for it now, but as far as, because I was reading something the other day about how they brought back to life some worm or something that was supposedly frozen for 46,000 years, or, you know, close to 50,000 years, which that's why I said, as we should know, all right, is, you know, that's why through the Spirit you have to be able to you know, speculate and chew the meat, spit out the bones, because obviously, as we know, or as we should know, the earth is not nowhere near 50,000 years old. But as I'm looking for it, I mean, there's really no point because I just mentioned it, you know. It came back to my remembrance. But yeah, they just discovered some type of I think it was some type of worm, right? Or they brought it back to life. You can look this up on your own. Some worm that was brought back to life because supposedly it was frozen for almost 50,000 years. You see, and they're calling it a new species, and, you know, or excuse me, an unknown species. And with all that being said, ain't no telling, because again, there's just so much, you know. There's so much to tap into, you know. There's so much going on, and I'm gonna mention a few other things. I don't want to jump the gun, all right, because ain't no telling these supposed, and like I said, you can't put anything past these devils. So, you know, with this new species, or undiscovered species, or unnamed species, or whatever they're calling it, right? Ain't no telling what type of diseases, all right, these things carry, parasites, or whatever the case may be. Like just the other day, it came out that, you know, the basically of the CDC. And that's why I wanted to bring this out real quick in Deuteronomy 28. All right, because just the other day, again, the supposedly the CDC came out of, some type of allergy that's caused by these ticks. And, they're basically putting that on the public radar that, hey, there's certain of these ticks that basically, you get bitten by these ticks or whatever, these certain ticks. You won't be able to eat red meat ever again, or something along those lines, something along that nature, man. These ticks that the AGS, right? Some type of AGS allergy that's caused by these ticks. Supposedly they're biting people. And it's causing it to happen to where it's causing this reaction to where people can't eat meat or red meat. So that's just a few examples of many, as far as these pestilences, these diseases, and like I said, there's so much going on. And I said this before, like because you get around to just want to do a particular video, and it's just like something else comes up, or you want to do a video on a particular topic, right? And it's just like World War III. I've been trying to do a video going into World War III for the longest, but every time I somewhat get around to doing it, it's just like more information comes out. It's just like, goddamn. It's like, goddamn, you really can't keep up with everything, right? But going back to Deuteronomy 28 in verse 60, says, moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou was afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. So you see, because how do you know, just this precept alone, man, who fits this description the best is Israelites, man, so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native American Indians. Jake suffers all type of, Jake deals with all type of diabetes and just all type of health problems, man. Like I said, the grand scheme of things, all Israel, we all suffer some form of continual sickness. We're all jacked up, we're all dying slowly, but nevertheless, reading on to verse 61 is the point. It says, also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, then will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. And as I just mentioned, and I might have to move, man, because these jakes look like they're up to no good, man, and I just hate this shit, man. Jake look like they're out here up to no good. I might have to move, man. Damn, man. Slacking, man. I have to see what this nigga's doing, man. And this nigga's gonna try any type of funny business. Alright, should be good, man. Lord willing, man. But again, in Deuteronomy 28 and 61, it says, also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law. And you see, because you got something I just mentioned it earlier about something called the CDC, Center for Disease Control. What do you think that's about? The name itself says it all, right? The name itself says it all. You see, and hey, however Esau wants to paint the picture, however Esau wants to paint his narrative, I always talk about Esau and his narrative. That's one of his weapons, his crafty tools. He paints this narrative, right? Because Esau, man, as of right now, the talks, this has been the talks for some years now, going into, Russia and China basically being the boogeyman, right? And to fast forward to now, another recent thing in the news going into, again, you can look it up for yourself. It just came out that Moab, the so-called Chinese, man, they're supposedly, all right, they just Because supposedly out there in California, they had this bio weapons lab of some sort, you know. And I'm not going to speak too much on that, but, you know, again, supposedly they busted this bio weapons lab of some sort out there in California, you know, and the questions of, you know, because, I mean, chances are they're not going to have just one lab, you know. Chances would more likely be that, hey, they got multiple labs. If this is the case, all right. You see, it's like with these Chinese spying stations, and I'm just saying it like that for YouTube algorithm's sake. But you had several of these Chinese, basically these spying lab or spying whatever they want to call them, you know, because, you know, basically the excuse was that, hey, you know, the so-called Chinese, you know, they were basically they got these stations over here to supposedly keep tabs on their own citizens that have fled China, and they try to come over here, and that's the narrative, you know. But not too long ago, you had it to where a lot of these stations, these Chinese stations, were being raided by the FBI, and that's not to mention all the military age Chinese men that have been coming over here. All right, with the whole talks of this border crisis, this so-called immigration crisis, because it's not just Northern Kingdom. You got a lot, you know, you got a lot of so-called Chinese, Iranians, different nations spilling over here, which a lot of them are already over here. They've been over here, you know, and they're just pretty much waiting on that moment, you know. Like I said, something's getting ready to happen. All right, Yahweh Bashemal Shah, he's moving all the chess pieces. He's moving everything into place. Something's getting ready to happen. And hey, because, you know, hey, we hope it's we hope it's tomorrow. We hope it's right now. But when the time is right in the eyes of the Lord, all right, because again, everything is on His timing, and then hey, this shit is going to spill over. This shit is going to spill over, man, and it's going to be no looking back from there. All right, but I've rambled enough. I'm going to go ahead and play this video. Lord willing, through the Spirit.
Okay, YouTubers, this is the only purpose. So today's video, we're going to talk about an outbreak that...
It's like, let me slow it down just a little bit. Just a little bit. Just a little bit.
Possibly could be coming soon. So guys, this outbreak I speak of is anthrax. And the only reason why I'm bringing it up, and the only reason why I'm bringing it up as a possibility, is a simple fact that there was a new vaccine for anthrax approved about a week ago. The FDA just approved a new anthrax arm ticket called Siphon Dust. I'm pretty sure I mispronounced it, but I think it's called Siphon Dust. That's the name of it. So again, guys, something's up, being that it was just authorized by the FDA. Now, the FDA is authorizing everything under the sun that's going to harm us, but anything natural and good for us, they want nothing to do with. And I find it suspicious, guys, that this is being released now. Now, of course, like anything else, there have been anthrax vaccines or arm tickets in the past, and the military was actually given it, you know, during the course of their time going to war overseas, if I'm not mistaken. And there have been some drawbacks with a lot of those. A lot of guys experienced a lot of bad shit, but not enough for them to make a difference. Not like what they're seeing with Mr. 19's arm ticket. Anyway, this new vaccine gets approved, and they're approving a new arm ticket for anthrax for the reason of what? Anthrax is, first of all, a super rare exposure. When it does happen, people are treated with antibiotics in the hospital. And if it's caught within a certain amount of time, it's treated in the hospital. So for you to come out with a new vaccine and come out with a multi-million deal for this vaccine means only one thing. Two things, actually. Either one, there's a possible outbreak happening soon, or they're just being prepared. Now, the government's never prepared for anything. They usually react to shit. So if they usually react to shit, what is this for? Now, again, guys, for an outbreak of anthrax to happen,
and you gotta at least take into consideration, because to the hopeful elect, all right, it's obvious to us. You see, because like you just said, one of two reasons. all right, or two possibilities of why they would have this, and I like the term he uses, arm ticket. I might start using that. The arm ticket or the Maxine Waters, all right, or that syringe that they stick into you to supposedly whatever. If they already have this out in advance, they're either preparing for something or matter of fact, I'm gonna run it. Let me run it back real quick.
Exposure. When it does happen, people are treated with antibiotics in the hospital, and if it's caught within a certain amount of time, it's treated in the hospital. So for you to come out with a new vaccine and come out with a multi-million deal for this vaccine means only one thing. Two things actually. Either one, there's a possible outbreak happening soon, or they're just being prepared. Now, the government's never prepared.
So like you said, and it makes sense to me at least, the government, the top big elites, because the so-called government, they just do the will of the top wicked elite. So that's a more so on the less likely side. All right. And like I said, it just makes more sense that they are preparing for something. They're preparing for something, and that's why I said, if you have any type of sense, because like I said, to the hopefully elect, it makes sense to us. It makes sense, brother. Regardless of how small or non-important, insignificant this may sound, but that's why I said it. This could be something. It could be nothing. There's been plenty of times where, certain brothers, myself included, put on things. Hey, it turned out to be so. And there's been times where we've reported on things, myself included, where, it was nothing. It was, swept under the rug. It was just, but nevertheless, it's good to know. Because the scriptures say, be not ignorant in anything, in any great matter, in any matter, small or great, roughly paraphrasing. So that's why I would say it could be something, it could be nothing. And that's why I was mentioning, just through the spirit, man, all these different things that's happening, just as far as pestilences, laboratories getting, basically getting their cover blown, getting raided, and, something is in the mix. All right. They've been calling this year the year of the poly crisis, which, that's, just so much to get into, man. Right. But I'm gonna get this real quick. In the book of Revelation, chapter 3, verse 18. I counsel thee to buy of me gold tried in the fire, that thou mayest be rich, and white raiment, and thou mayest be clothed, and that the shame of thy nakedness do not appear. And anoint thine eyes with eye salve, that thou mayest see. And you see, because to the hopefully elect, it's clear to us. It's crystal clear. You see? And Lord willing, I get around to doing this video, man. Just going into being left in obscurity. That gross darkness. All right, because when the shit really hits the fan out here, and it's just all hell breaks loose, man. Hey, these people, they're really going to be in a bad case. But the men of the Lord, and to those that come up under the men of the Lord's vibration, all right, some men, women, and children, mostly women and children, hey, they're going to be all right. All right, because the men of the Lord in that day, they're going to be those walking beacons of light. You see, Lord willing, we're at that number. We're going to have the answers in that day. That day's not going to catch us like a thief in the night. We're it's not going to be a surprise to us. But to everyone else, this is going to be, like, what the hell? And just chaos, confusion, disarray. Right? But our eyes have been anointed with that eye salve, And I did a video on this like 2 years ago, and it's cold because, hey, that eye salve, and it's the spirit because, from time to time, the Apostle Gabar, he does this video, this recurring video from time to time, every blue moon or so. Because, you do have a lot of videos, Slack, you have a lot of new believers coming in, new followers coming in, so, from every so often, every blue moon and whatnot, you gotta, we gotta, uh, uh, you know, do videos on topics that we've touched on before for the newcomers. I catch myself doing that from time to time. But and on top of that, hey, repetition is key, right? But from time to time, every blue moon or whatnot, he does a video going into the, I think it's the 5 stages of being in this truth. And one of those 5 stages is being an owl. All right. I don't remember exactly, in order, but I know the owl, that's like the 4th stage, if I'm not mistaken. All right. And then your 5th stage, you got the dragon, right? But nevertheless, the 5 stages of being in this truth, man. And one of those stages, and pretty much one of the top stages, is being an owl. And like I said, I did a video on this like maybe 2 years ago, man. Going into how, and a lot of animals possess this type of ability, but mainly the owl. When you look into an owl, man, it has that eye salve. All right, and what is the eye salve? It's basically a special. It's basically this type of oil in the eye. Like I said, damn, it's been a while since I looked into it, but it's basically like a special type of oil somewhere behind the eyes, the eye gland, or something like that. But nevertheless, it gives the owl the ability to see in the dark, and that's just one of many animals that can, they have that special ability, they have that special anointing to where they can see in the dark. That's why sometimes, or oftentimes, you see certain things in the dark, man. You don't know what the hell it is, but it could be something as simple, harmless, right? But you'll see the eyes glowing. That's that special anointing. Because hey, in the men of the Lord, it's cold. Because the men of the Lord, hey, in that day, they're gonna, everyone's gonna see that glow. And hey, whether you see it or not, whether you believe it or not, whether you know it or not, people see the glow now. All right, you Israelite man, you man of Yahweh Shemel Shai. All right, hey, people, they see your glow now. You wonder, you question, why people just so attracted to you. People just be wanting to have a conversation with you, and they just want to be, and I'm talking about people you never even met. They just want to be around you. They just want to spark a conversation, might give you a compliment. And then, hey, on the flip side, just for no reason, you might see, a nigga mean mugging you, and just, because, hey, just like how we're able to, through the Spirit of the Lord, man, we could just, if you see a Jake, man, and he's just tatted up and pants hanging off his ass, with dreadlocks. And I know me personally, I never got along, and I've always been a people person. All right, growing up, I've always been, cool with everybody, all 12 tribes and all nations at that, Hey, some of my best friends growing up have been Edomites, right? But one thing that I've never got along, and I noticed this, and I've noticed this in recent years in my life. One thing I've noticed about myself, that I've never gotten along with a nigga with dreads, a clean shaven face ass nigga. I never got along with those two type of people. Someone who's bald, just a clean shaved face, but especially a nigga with dreads, man, because those are demons, man. It's just those are unclean spirits. I've never got along with dreads, man. A nigga with dreads, women too. I've never gotten along with niggas with dreads, man. Never. But I just say all that to say, because again, you might be, you don't even have to say nothing to him. You just, might be in the presence of a just a 2/3 nigga with dreads, tatted up, and just bugged out, right? And you get that feeling, you can kind of get that sense like, man, this nigga ain't that, and that's the spirit, because I just mentioned it. The spirit had that. I think the spirit had that play out because I just seen it. You know, like I'm thinking these niggas ain't up to no good. Niggas walking up and down. I'm parked in front of this building, right? And niggas is just walking up and down, looking around like, you know, like they try not to get caught. Like they're up to. It looks like they're up to no good. You know. And like I said, man, you just get that feeling like, man, this nigga ain't up to no good, man. You know? Well, hey, it's likewise. All right. On the flip side, hey, for the most part, 2/3 they can sense a I'm not even gonna say nigga. They can sense a righteous individual, man. You know, they can sense a righteous Jake. They can sense, so to say, one of those elect men. And remember, because you know, hey, good is set against evil. All right. You know, and everything the Lord made 2 and 2. He made righteous and wickedness. So, hey, just like, you know, when it comes to 2/3, man, we can kind of sense like, man, this nigga ain't up to no good, right? Well, hey, these 2/3, they can kind of sense like, hey, man, this nigga, he's righteous. You know, he's one of the righteous ones. They can sense that. They can sense it in a sense. You see, so you know, hey, you know, just like I was saying, man, to tie it all back together, because as I just read here, Revelation 3:18, man, you know, that eye salve, all right, basically it makes you glow, it makes you shine. Because like I said, you might be out in the dark, you know, you see those glowing eyes, man, hey, you can see that illumination, right? You know, you can see that illumination way. You know, likewise us, if we're that number, man, these people, they can see that illumination. And hey, 2/3, they don't like that. They don't like that. You see, so, you know, we've been given that special anointing to where we can see past the bullshit. That's why I was saying, like, hey, you know, to those that, you know, to those of us, the hopeful elect, is crystal clear what's going on. It's crystal clear. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead and play on some more.
Anything, they usually react to shit. So if they usually react to shit, what is this for? Now, again, guys, for an outbreak of anthrax to happen, there's a lot of things that need to happen for this anthrax to be weaponized. It's not something that's simply done, though people have tried to do it in their homes and they've been exposed and in some cases died. So it's not an easy thing to do. Nonetheless, it can be done. Now, are they worried about something happening, or is something going to be staged? Now, this is just a question I'm asking or throwing out there. This is a possibility of 1,000,001 things that can happen. On Prepper Channel, guys, we like to entertain it all. We don't like to leave anything unturned.
And you see, because just my vain opinion, all right, just my vain opinion, you know, hey, this guy Ingrid Pepperman, he you know, and I'm not in, I'm nobody, all right, but this guy, man, he seems to have a lot of sense. Like I said, I've done several videos based on this guy. You know, I've done several commentaries based off this guy's videos. I've been watching him for a few years now, man. And just to me, my vain opinion, man, which don't mean nothing. Hey, he has more sense than a lot of these so-called truthers and whistleblowers, and he might be one of the elect. He could very well be, you know. And that kind of dawned on me when a long time ago, the Apostle Tahar, he made that similar statement. Like, I don't know who he was watching. It was another prepper. I won't be surprised if it was this guy, but he's like, man, this guy could very well be one of the elect, and that's how I feel about this Jake, man. He could very well be one of those elect, man. You know, because it's just a lot of things that, you know, a lot of things he says is just slacking, man. Another weirdo walking by my car and shit, just looking suspicious. You know, you just gotta be on point out here, man. You never know. It's almost 9 o'clock and these niggas out here, man. Let's lock in. Let me go ahead and play this.
Right. We want to make sure we have all our bases covered in case something happens and they go, you know what? I did hear this a couple weeks ago, a couple days ago, that this could happen. A lot of prepper channels, guys, like to throw fear into the mix. So they'll introduce something to you and then they'll throw fear in the mix. Again, this is not a fear channel, right? We're gonna be fucking real dudes about this shit. And learn about these things that could happen. And when it happens, guys, we react accordingly. We sit there and go, you know what? I did hear this is going to happen. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. You're going to implement whatever protocol you have for whatever might be happening. So now, this anthrax thing, again.
So, real quick, because like he mentioned, on another note, the Lord is a fearmonger. All right. The Heavenly Father, He is a fearmonger. All right. It's either get down with His program or you're through, right? So I'm gonna get this real quick, because again, what's coming to America in general? Again, man, just in this video alone, I'm just more so focusing on the the pestilences, diseases, and sicknesses and things of that nature. But what's coming in general, man? Listen, you better be afraid. All right, we better be afraid. You see, Second Ezra, what is this? Second Ezra chapter 15, which this is basically going into what's coming to America, Babylon. All right, because again, I'm just in this particular video focusing on the plagues. I mentioned a few of them, as far as the pestilences and diseases and sicknesses. Like as I read earlier, listen, the Lord has some shit that He has in store for this place that we ain't never seen before. We know about AIDS and syphilis and all this other stuff, all right? But the Lord is even more so about to hit this place with even more things that we've never even seen before, things that we've never heard of. Because, man, real soon, man, we're really about to start seeing some shit. That's why I said in the beginning, man, we're about to see some shit. We're about to witness some shit, man. It's in this chapter where it's just, again, I quoted it earlier. It's in this chapter where Ezra's just like, man, what, roughly paraphrasing, how the hell, right? Because what did Ezra say? What was me? Who shall deliver me? Because, hey, Ezra, whoever he is today, he's here. And whoever he is, wherever he is, more than likely he's here in America. He's here in Babylon. He's going to see the same shit that he saw all those years ago, and he's going to have to live through it, as we all are. Man, we're going to have to, because, a lot of the prophets, man, they seen what we're about to witness, all right? They seen it, and they were like, man, fuck that. I don't want to be here, man. Man, what the hell is that? I'm like, Lord, So, hey, these plagues, man, they're coming, They're here. It's just a matter of that right moment to where, like I said before, it just gives Esau that justification to where he can really, spew his madness. Because it's going to be some shit, man. As I mentioned with the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, the name in itself, it says it all, right? But 2 Ezra 15, I'm going to start at verse 41, because I was mentioning, like I said, in this particular video, I'm just focusing, mainly on the pestilences, right? But hey, the Lord is going to hit this place with some just mass death, man, mass chaos, confusion, invasions, all right? Because I mentioned all that with the so-called Chinese, and how basically a lot of them are already here. And as a matter of fact, now I don't know how true this is, but I'm just gonna look this up real quick, and because I did some research, and not so surprisingly, I really couldn't find anything on it. But there's something called the it is basically going into Moab, all right, the so-called Chinese, to those of them that are already here, because America's infiltrated, all right? America's already infiltrated. It's been infiltrated. That's why I said, Esau and his narrative, he wants to pick this narrative that, hey, all these Chinese nationalists and, so on and so forth, they've been spilling over here, and that's just his narrative. But truth be told, they're already here. A lot of them are already here. Not just Moab, but, all these other, foreign troops. Look into something called sleeper cells, man. A lot of them are already here. They're just waiting on that moment. They're just waiting on the green light. Right? And I was looking into something, or I heard about it. All right. And I was trying to do some research on it, but not so surprisingly, I couldn't find anything on it. But maybe, to whom this may concern, if you hear this, maybe your chances are better at it than mine, because I was looking into something called, and I'm still trying to look it up. It's called the Act of Asian Day. All right, it's called the Act of Asian Day. All right, and basically this is just going to be a day or a time period where, like I said, these sleeper cells, they're going to get that green light to go ahead and do what they got to do. And as I mentioned before, like, man, all the talks of these Chinese nationalists and these stations that have been raided by the FBI, and these, like I mentioned with the one report, with the so-called biolab or whatever they're calling it, being shut down, investigated, right? Because like I said, man, a lot of them are already here, and they're just waiting on that moment. They're waiting on the green light. So basically, from what I was researching, or what I was just looking into, all right, this Act of Asian Day, all right, it's basically just gonna be a day or a time period where these Moabites, and we're just talking about Moab, all right, the so-called Chinese. That's not to mention all the other, foreign troops or whatever that are already here. Again, these sleeper cells, they're already here. They're just waiting on that moment. When Active Asian Day, supposedly, it's just that one of those things where it's like they're gonna get that green light, because like I said, they're waiting on the green light. Well, they're gonna get it eventually. All right. Because and again, I say all that to say that, like I said, America's going to get invaded. America is already infiltrated. You see, America's already infiltrated. You see, so going back to 2nd Esdras 15, I'm just going to start at verse 41, or verse 40, 2nd Esdras 15:40. It says, "The great and mighty clouds shall be puffed up full of wrath in the star, that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place and horrible star, fire and hail, flying swords and many waters, that all fields may be full, and all rivers with the abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the woods, and grass of the meadows, and their corn." So you see, man, it's going to be like, I can't even say it's going to be like, it's going to be worse than, for those of us that saw, and I'm talking about the more recent one with this guy, damn, what's his name? The guy that played Thor, he just recently came out with the Extraction 2. Man, I forgot his name, but, him and this other guy from Drake and Josh, the guy that played Josh, they did the movie Red Dawn. I think it was somewhere around like 2011, 2012. They did that movie. All right, and you do have an older version, right? But the more recent one back in 2012, I believe, they you watch the movie. Hey, the guy was just coming back home. Chris Hemsworth, that's his name. Chris Hemsworth. All right, he did the movie Red Dawn, right? The guy, he was just coming out of the military. He was just coming home from a tour or whatever. And that might be a movie I have to watch again. I've been getting in the habit of watching all these movies because I was always a movie fanatic. I love watching these movies. All right. I was such a fanatic movie. Hey, I had to plug, man. I was watching a lot of these movies before they even came out, because I was such a movie fanatic. But I was watching them strictly for entertainment purposes. So, over the months and, past 2-3 years, I've been trying to, get back into these movies, for the spiritual, to watch them for a spiritual standpoint, Bushwick and all these other movies, right? But nevertheless, when you watch that movie, hey, like I said, the Chris Hemsworth, his character, he's just coming back from a tour, I believe, right? Crashing on I think it's his father's couch, man, and basically, hey, they woke up and it was just troops coming from the sky, man, planes overhead, all right, because make no mistake about it, they always mention, these guys, Russia, China, hell, North Korea, because I think that's what that was the thing in this movie, Red Dawn. I think it was North Korea, which they're still Moab, all right, they're still the so-called Chinese, all right, but nevertheless, America was getting invaded. The guy just he just woke up and it was just all hell breaking loose. Parachutes, troopers coming from the planes overhead. There's troops on the streets. It was just all hell broke loose, just like that. You see, and like I said, it says, and they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood and grass of the meadows and their corn. And this is something, because I mentioned earlier about how, and that's why I can agree to this. I can agree with this guy, the Angry Pepper, because, this is something they've been planning. All right. They know what's going to happen. Just like the prophets, those of us on the right hand, hey, listen, we know what's going to happen before it happens. Well, listen, these elites, through the Spirit of the Lord, man, they know what's going to happen before it happens. They've been planning it. This the whole talk with the MOTB, man. This is not nothing new. This is old news, man. It's just a matter of that perfect event, the right setting. Which, hey, Lord willing, we are in the time of the right setting. We are in the time of the right setting. The stage is being set, right? But it says, verse 43, and they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid. So you see, because these people, they're used to living comfortably, they're comfortable. So, hey, when shit gets uncomfortable, hey, these people, man, they're going to be afraid. Matter of fact, when you read on, it says, they shall come to her and besiege her, the star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. And then shall the dust and smoke go up unto the heaven, and all they that be about her shall beware her, because at the end of this thing, hey, America is going to be completely destroyed. All right, like Yahweh said, hey, I come to send fire on earth, but if it already, the fire already be kindled. This place is already going to be up in shits, man. Before the missiles come, hey, this place is already going to be up in flames, man. Rome is burning. All right. Rome is on fire right now. Rome is on fire right now. America's on fire right now. It's just, hey, these things it's just going to get worse and worse and worse before eventually it gets better, right? It says, and they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear. And thou, Asia, that art partaker of the hope of Babylon and art the glory of her person. Because you see, Moab, the so-called Chinese, all right, Asia, or Moab, the so-called Chinese men, they think they're next to rule, right? Moab is basically like a little sister of Esau, man. They, basically copycats of Esau. They stolen their blueprint pretty much, and because Esau, and hypothetically speaking, if the Lord was to let this place go on another 1,000 years, man, hypothetically speaking, Moab would be the new America. All right, China would be the new America, the new Babylon, and Russia will be the new NATO. All right, the military force, hypothetically speaking. But hey, the Wadi Habashim Shemar Shah, that's not going to happen. It says, verse 47. Matter of fact, let me just jump down. I'm gonna jump down to the point in verse 49. It says, I will send plagues upon thee, widowhood and poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death. So you see, that's the point. All right, because again, going into what's coming to America, poverty, famine, widowhood. There's about to be a lot of death, destruction. All right, but these pestilences, again, hey, the Lord's about to hit this place with new things that we've never seen before, places that aren't even written in the book. All right, You know, hey, whatever, Esau's holding in those labs, man. He's gonna release some shit. More than likely, blame it on China, Russia, North Korea, whoever. All right, and this is we're going to see some shit out here, man. We are really going to start seeing bodies drop eventually, man. Lord willing, in the fucking near future, man. Because we're tired of this fucking place, man. I can't fucking wait to start seeing these people drop dead out of this bitch, man. I can't wait. God damn. Because in the same chapter, man, it talks about, hey, because of the pride of the cities, man, hey, America's in trouble. America's in trouble because all hell's already breaking loose throughout the four winds of the earth. And that's why, like I said, man, it's hard to keep up with everything. It really is hard to keep up with everything that's going on. But hey, that's okay because, hey, these people, for the most part, they have to see to believe it. Okay. All right. The Lord can, he can meet you, he can meet you there. Because, hey, the demonstration, as the head brother Nahoya often talks about, hey, the demonstration. These people, they have to see it. All right, they're gonna feel it. But I'm gonna go ahead and play this video out some more.
Accident release is fairly low, let's be honest. But if it does happen, at least you're ready. And if it does happen, who's getting that shot? Who's getting an arm ticket? Right? Because they made enough, but not enough first of all, they never make enough for society. So obviously it's going to affect a certain locale or a certain area that's going to be infected by this possible weaponized anthrax. Now, someone said a while ago, years ago, that weaponized anthrax is different from natural anthrax. Clearly it is, right? One's weaponized, easily transmittable. It gets into the body a lot easier than the natural one. Now, nature, again, that's antibiotics, and I think the same goes for weaponization. But what are they handing this out for? Again, it's an arm ticket, not a cure. The cure for anthrax, in a lot of cases, is antibiotics. And it depends on how far along you are. It's going to dictate whether or not that antibiotics is going to work. So what are they getting people ready for, right? Because that's the purpose of arm tickets.
And let me just say this to the spirit, all right? Because as far as the cure, listen, because as I read earlier, a lot of our people, they deal with all type of plagues, diseases, sicknesses, things that are so-called, there is no cure for. But listen, that's just what Esau, the madness that he spews, all right? Because, hey, there's a cure for everything, all right? There's a cure for everything. Now, granted, I dealt with a lot of physical ailments and shit that, because, for brothers that know me and for people that are close to me, before I started my fitness journey back in 2018, before that, man, listen, I was a fat fuck. I was an obese, and I was dealing with all type of ankle problems, back problems, I was, man, I was overweight, obese, borderline diabetic, all that. And there was a lot of things that I thought that, and I didn't have to go to the doctors for a lot of things, for the, because like I said, a lot of Jake, man, they go to the doctors and tell them, listen, man, you got this such and such, and there's no cure for it. All we can do is put you on these meds for the rest of your life. I didn't have to get to that point where I went to the doctors and they had to tell me. I just knew that, man, this shit is irreversible. I'm going to deal with this for the rest of my life, right? But listen, like I said, a lot of things that I was dealing with my whole life that I thought that I was just going to, this is going to be chronic, a lot of things, man, a lot of problems of what I was dealing with, it went away through mere praying, fasting, and exercise, and good, good diet, clean eating. You see, and that's not even to mention, like I said, man, just because a lot of people, man, they deal with things that, listen, just your diet alone, and with that being said, just your diet alone, that'll, because if you start eating right, eventually you'll basically trick your body into and it's in a good way. I say that in a good way, because you're just eating alone. Because I'll say this through the spirit, man. What prompted me to really get into taking my health serious back in 2018 I started drinking water. I started drinking more water. Like I said, I was a fatso, you know. I was, because pretty much right now, all I just, you know, all I drink now is water and wine. All right, water, wine, and liquor, and not in that order. Not in that order, you know. But what prompted me to start my fitness journey, me personally, my personal testimony was the fact that I just started drinking more water. You know, and eventually, my body was like, I like it. I like this. I like how I like how this feels. So I stopped drinking that soda. Listen, Jake, man, Jake love that Kool-Aid, man. I love Kool-Aid, especially the strawberry lemon. Man, listen, I love that shit. The strawberry lemonade, I love lemonade, man. Or pretty much, for me, anything yellow. I love lemonade, pineapple, man. I love that shit. Kool-Aid. I was the type, Jake, to I would have a pitcher, fill that bitch up halfway with sugar, and the rest just water and Kool-Aid, man. I love Kool-Aid. Kool-Aid, soda, right? But it went from that to less Kool-Aid, more water. And long story short, to fast forward, man, eventually I just started drinking. I just stopped cutting that shit out. I just cut that shit out completely. All right, and I was just drinking water. And that prompted me to just take my health more serious and just, I'm where I'm at today through the spirit and power, grace and mercy of Yahweh Shem Shai, man. Just by drinking water alone, man. The power of just drinking water alone. You hear certain apostles, bishops, elders, and certain brothers talk about, hey, man, go on a water fast, man. And that's the spirit because, hey, some of the apostles and certain brothers, man, they've been getting on the topic of health, fasting, intermittent fasting. And maybe, the spirit has prompted me to do a lesson on that because, listen, I was dealing with a lot of demons. The depression demon, the suicide demon, all that shit, man. Like I said, outside of prayer, because prayer is first and foremost. I was dealing with that shit, man. There's been plenty of times where I had a gun in my mouth, a gun in my head. I was getting ready to, end that shit. But, hey, the Lord has me, and that's why I did the video the other day going into how the Lord has He has a more needful purpose for us, man. That's part of what prompted me to do that video, because we all have our testimonies, man. We're just like, man, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be here whatsoever. None of us should be here, but the Lord has different plans for us, and the Lord has a more needful purpose for us. That's what prompted me a part of what prompted me to do that video, man. There's been plenty of times I still got the scars from suicide attempts, all that shit, man. All that shit. But hey, the Lord if we're of that number, the Lord has a more needful purpose, man. He has bigger plans for us than than us. It's bigger than us. Like I was saying, man, it's bigger than us. But our experiences, they're necessary. They're we had to go through our experiences because, hey, that's the best teacher. Going through the shit ourselves, man. So, fasting, that is a requirement from the Heavenly Father to fast outside of prayer, man. Fasting, get your diet right, exercise, go for walks, man. But let me go ahead and because outside of teaching this truth, what really gets me excited is topic of fitness and health. That shit gets me excited. So before I get too excited, let me go ahead and just play the rest of this, man.
It's antibiotics, and it depends on how far along you are. It's going to dictate.
Oh, that's what I was saying, Slakia. That's what I was saying, because as I was saying, you get a lot of Jake. They get the so-called bad news that, hey, listen, you got such and such. There's no cure for it. We just got to put you on these meds, these treatments or whatever, chemo, whatever, for the rest of your life. Listen, the Lord has a remedy for everything. All right. Like I said, a lot of shit that I was dealing with, I thought it was chronic. I thought I was just going to have to deal with this shit until the kingdom. But no, man, all right. There is literally a cure for everything. And it's as simple as changing up your diet. A lot of things that a lot of people deal with, and you'd be surprised because a lot of things that a lot of Jake deal with, and I'm talking about like major issues like diabetes, type 1, type 2, whatever, cancer, believe it or not, cancer, Alzheimer's. All right. What's another one? Dementia. A lot of that shit is just, a lot of it just can come from just having too many metals in your body, man. And eliminating those metals, which comes by way of your diet, by eliminating certain elements within your body, because remember, our body is created from the earth, you know. And that's why when we so-called die, hey, the body goes back, this flesh goes back to the earth, and the spirit goes back to the Heavenly Father. You know, so you know we contain a lot of minerals and elements. Wait, there's a such thing as having too many elements, too many minerals, too many metals. It can cause a lot of that stuff like Alzheimer's and dementia and, you know, brain fogs and all that stuff. Well, hey, and that's another thing that I preach, me personally, through the Spirit. Hey, find your balance, man. When it comes to health-wise, whatever, find your balance. You know, because, hey, I'm going to just say, hey, I'm one of those jakes that I could drink a lot, you know, and I'll be all right. You know, certain brothers, man, they have to go 2-3 months going cold turkey, no liquor, no alcohol. Listen, I'm not one of those jakes. Because, for one, that's just the spirit that the Lord has on me for whatever reason. Because I love my yan, man. I love my alcohol. But, hey, if I know I'm going to drink a lot, man, you know, hey, you know, I already have it planned out through the spirit that, hey, the next day I'm going to make sure I kick my ass, play some basketball or, you know, work out, something. I know I'm a balance that shit out. You know, but nevertheless, hey, there is a remedy. The Lord has a remedy for everything. And it could be the shit that you had in your cabinet for 2 years now that you never touched. Turmeric, right? Some lemon, some lime, alkaline your body, man. You know, cayenne pepper. You know, I fuck with that. I fuck with that heavy. You know, that cayenne pepper, man. Listen, that shit, it does wonders for you, man. And that's just what you have in your cabinet. That's not even to mention what you can find at the local herb shop. You get into the devil's claw and, you know, certain other herbs and, you know, hey, you know. But like I said, I'm getting excited, you know. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this video out. This is turning into something else. So let me play this video out.
Whether or not that anybody else is gonna work. So what are they getting people ready for, right? Because that's the purpose of arms tickets, to get you ready for an outbreak or to get your body ready to fight whatever might be coming. So is there a fight coming with this, or are they just out of the kindness of their hearts being ready? The government's never kind. That's just not something the government does. No government is. And out of the kindness of our hearts, we're going to make sure Americans are prepared. Said no government ever. So again, guys, this is just something to put in the back of your heads and just leave it there. This is not something to run out and go, well, the angry pepper said they're going to attack us. Don't do that shit and don't put that on me.
So yeah, man, that was pretty much it on that. I'm gonna go ahead and get this real quick and I'm gonna end it off a little willing. In Baruch chapter 2. Baruch chapter 2. Matter of fact, the point is in 24-25, but I'm gonna I'll start at verse 1 real quick. It says, therefore the Lord hath made good his word, which he hath pronounced against us and against our judges that judged Israel, and against our kings and against our princes and against the men of Israel and Judah, to bring upon us great plagues. You see, and going back to Deuteronomy 28, hey, listen, the Lord said, from starting at verses 15 on down, listen, the Lord said, hey, y'all don't want to do it right, y'all don't want to listen, y'all don't want to obey. All right, I'm gonna bring hey, basically, like I just said here, I'm gonna make good on my word. You know, and clearly the Lord made good on his word, because Jacob's through. Jacob's fucking through out here, man. Right? It says to bring upon us great plagues, such as never happened under the whole heaven. And, you know, hey, listen. just speaking expressly, man. Speaking as a man. Because I can just imagine, like, every captivity that the Lord brought us in, man. It's just like, man, it was the worst case scenario. Like, damn, we ain't never been through no shit like this. The transatlantic slave trade. It's like, damn, we never been through no shit like this. Well, how much more now? How much more of what's getting ready to happen now? Again, this is we're coming into the worst time in history. So the Lord's about to hit us with some shit that we've never seen before. New diseases and plagues that we've never seen before. The earth has never seen before. Right? It says that as it came to pass in Jerusalem, according to the things that are written in the law of Moses. Verse 3 says that a man should eat the flesh of his own son and the flesh of his own daughter. So you see, cannibalism. And you see, again, you got to ask yourself, because, hey, cannibalism is one of those things that's happened throughout time. All right? It's happened throughout time in history. You know, we read about the different accounts where, hey, Jake was eating one another, man. Hell, Jake was eating themselves, taking a chunk out of their own flesh because they were starving to death, right? And you think cannibalism, and it's like, man, what can be more worse than cannibalism? What can be more worse than cannibalism? A human being eating another human being. Well, again, that should say it all in itself, because what do you think the Lord is about to bring now? How do you think the Lord is going to play this shit out now, man? Or cannibalism, hey, man, it's about to get scary, right? But I'm going to jump down to verse 23. Baruch 2 and 23, it says, I will cause to cease out of the cities of Judah and from without Jerusalem the voice of mirth and the voice of joy and the voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride, and the whole land shall be desolate of inhabitants. And as I always say, America, man, is about to be very unrecognizable, right? A lot of these once prosperous nations like Venezuela and a lot of these beautiful countries, these beautiful nations, hey man, they're third world countries, they're dystopian. All right, it's just all bad. That's what's getting ready to happen to America. America's about to be totally unrecognizable. Like right now, that's the spirit, because I'm around I can't even say like a major plaza, because a lot of these plazas and malls, shopping centers, man, a lot of this shit's dead now, but at one point this shit was popping. Right? You see, niggas walking around with their girl and, just whatever, people having fun, but all that's about to be turned to darkness. All that's about to be turned to sorrow, lamentation, confusion, right? Desolate, because like you had the one video that just recently came out about how they were, it showed out there in Russia, some place in Russia, and it looked like some shit that you would see in the downtown area, high-rise buildings, skyscrapers and whatnot, and out of nowhere a missile hit. That's about to be America's new reality. That's about to be America's new normal. Missiles hitting, sirens going off, right? Just booms over here, booms over there, loud explosions over here, explosions over there, people screaming over here. That's what's getting ready to happen to America, man. Right? It says, verse 24, but we would not hearken unto the voice to serve the king of Babylon. Therefore hast thou made good the word that thou spakest by thy servants the prophets, namely that the bones of our kings and the bones of our fathers should be taken out of their place. Because you see, listen, the Lord told us like, hey, listen, y'all didn't want to listen. Well, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to, send the Babylonians. I'm going to send the Persians, the Medes, whatever the case was at the, these particular times. And Jake was like, man, and that's a part of why we got captivity after captivity, because that pride. Jake was like, man, listen, we're the Israelites, all right? We're the sons and daughters of the Heavenly Father, man. Lord ain't going to do that. Yeah, that shit ain't going to happen to us until it happened. And like Jake was like, all right, damn, you made good on your word. We repent. And for the most part, that was always the attitude of the elect, because the elect have always been around. The elect weren't just around in this lifetime that we're in right now, whoever they are. All right. But the elect always had this mindset of, hey, man, we fucked up. Lord, forgive us. But it says in verse 28, it says, and lo, they are cast out to the heat of the day and to the frost of the night. And they died in great miseries by famine, by sword, and by pestilence. So you see, man, the pestilence is the point that I want to focus on through the spirit. All right. These new diseases, and like I mentioned, with all the different things that they've got out there, man, just all the different shit going on, man. Hey, the Lord is about to hit this bitch with some new shit that we've never seen before. The earth has never seen before. We're really about to start seeing people bug out, lose their minds. They're speaking expressly through the spirit, man. We're going to see people's heads start, exploding. We're going to start seeing people's eyes start, bleeding, and, people rotting from the inside. Man, we're going to see some shit. We're going to see some shit that we've never seen before. These pestilences, man. And Esau, he's preparing for this, because he knows to an extent, because eventually, as we know, or as we should know, their motto is order out of chaos. All right. Esau, he's going to cause so much chaos that is going to justify him and bring it into order. But check this out, because Esau doesn't run on his own program. He runs on the program of the Heavenly Father. So with that being said, things are going to get to a point where Esau, he's not going to be able to control it. It's going to get out of his control. And hey, it's just going to be, the devil's going to come down with the great wrath. He's just going to show his true colors, his horns. Like the scriptures say, it tells you in the Apocrypha about how, hey, in the end, he shall declare his wickedness. Because eventually it's just going to get to a point where he's like, man, fuck this, sword. And that's ultimately, again, it all ties back to Yahweh Shema Shai and what he wants. Because eventually he's just going to put a spirit on these devils to just, come full force, come all out with it. But Lord wanted this was edifying. Call halayim like Yahweh Shema Shai. Shalom. Shalom, shalom to you. Hopefully, look into the next one.